Hey, okay, so let's see if this is actually working. Uh-huh. Bam, 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 bam. Bam, 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 bam. Bam, 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 bam. I'm way off there. I don't know if that's... I'm trying to see if it loads up. It's kind of freezing up on me. Alright, there it goes. I think it's working now. So what I will do is... I have the chat up. Chat up. Yeah, best. I don't know if I should do it like so. I guess we could try it that way. And see if that'll work. So let's continue. Let's load. I don't think I did a quick save. Okay, so I can't switch with my bare hands. Okay, so what's going on, everybody? My name is Daniel Espira, and today we're going to be playing Steins Gate 0 yet again. Where we last left off, right here. So... oh yeah, let me put on this auto so I can drink me some water. And I don't know if you, well, nobody's here, so we shall see. Mother! If anybody ever hops on, make sure you let me know. I'm gonna like that video anyway, just because. Monica put E. Okay, I'm gonna Itaru Hashida, come quickly. All right, before we continue, where we last left off. So in the anime, what is currently happening is we haven't got here yet. They were just they had just gotten to Daru's place. Or no, he was telling Maho not to find out what's inside the laptop, because what's inside the laptop can lead to World War III. We're ahead of that in the game a little bit, and there's a big difference, even though it's a small, subtle difference. But in the game, Moeka is the bad guy, and in the anime, I'm thinking Yuki is. So, let's continue. Daddy was joking, but his whole body was shaking. What do I do? They were going to kill Daru. I thought as fast and as hard as I could, but nothing came to me. Okay. In this world line, Daru was going to live until 2036 and complete the time machine. That much was clear from Suzuha's testimony. If the world line were going to converge, even if Moeka took Daru here, he wouldn't be killed, right? No. But that didn't mean I couldn't leave him here. One of the men with Moeka was looking at his watch. She noticed it too. They might have felt they were taking too much time with the kidnapping done in broad daylight. I hope that somebody might wander by, but there was no counting. There was no counting on that stroke or something. I need to solve this myself instead of relying on others. No, Moeka, you don't need to do these things. I feel a cold knife pressing hard against my cardiac something artery. Okarin! Yeah, but that! Daru and Mao were screaming, but suddenly it all seemed unreal, like it was taking place in a distant world. They said that what happened whenever someone is confronted with their own death, it was happening to me now. I can't die either way, right? I tried asking myself that. I tried asking Suzuha, even though she wasn't here. I tried asking the world. Of course, nobody answered. The fact that I might not die didn't mean I could do something stupid here. A normal college kid like me would be too scared to move once they had a knife to their neck. I'd seen people die many times, and I'd almost been killed, but I never did get used to it. Thoughts of Kurisu's blood come back into my mind, and I almost suffered a flashback. My body shook, and it was all I could do to keep from collapsing to the ground. Was there nothing else I could do? Who's here? Just when I thought I was about to give up, a black van pulled up and braked hard at the end of the alley, blocking us in. The sliding door opened. Out poured men carrying assault rifles. Whoa, what is this? They were all wearing gray military uniforms and face masks. Their eyes were the eyes of trained soldiers. From their huge frames and the color of their skin, it was clear that they weren't Japanese. I immediately realized that this was all real. It wasn't cosplay or anything like that. Those guns were real. A battle was about to begin. My experience with the August 13th attack and the war zone I lived until a few days ago came back to me. Everyone hide! It didn't matter who was friend or foe. Moeka moved instead of... What? She saw the attackers and jumped into the shadows of the nearby building. The other rounders spread out too. They let go of Mao and who was standing up, confused, in the middle of the alley. Mao, get down! The man who was holding me was the only one who reached out a bit too slowly. There was a sharp noise of bullets went through the helmet of the rounders who was holding the knife to my throat. Oh, he did. As he went down, I went down with him, and I hit the ground hard. Gah. The impact made me let go of Daru's backpack. One of the other rounders grabbed it off the ground and ran into the opposite direction of the van. A man got out of the van, evidently the commander, and barked orders that sounded like Russian. The Russians are here. One of the soldiers turned their guns on their fleeing rounders. Gah! Her body flew up from the ground as both she and the backpack were torn open. Oh. The contents of the backpack fell to the ground, scattered across the asphalt. The laptop and hard drive were hit with more gunfire than possibly could have been necessary. Kurisu's laptop and hard drive were turned into unrecognizable scrap in just a few seconds. I crawled behind a light pole without even bothering to look. It really all happened in an instant. I looked around and the Russian soldiers were running towards us. Moeka and the rounders had vanished at some point, leaving only two bodies. The soldiers silently recovered the remains of the laptop and hard drive, picked up the bodies of the two rounders, and got right back in their van. They didn't even pause to take a look at us. There were only a couple of minutes between the time when they arrived and the time they left. All that were left were little fragments lying on the ground. The blood from the two bodies. Mao was lying on the ground shaking. Daru Daru, who was standing in shock behind one of the buildings, and me lying on the ground. My heart had been pounding the whole time. I only felt the pain in my neck after it was all over. Evidently, the knife had cut me a little when I had fallen. A while later, we finally heard the sirens of the police cars. And it was only then I remembered that I was in Akihabara, Japan. The Third World War may have started long ago, and we just didn't know about it. I realized that in the face of the war between nations, we truly were powerless. Oh man, that was way too intense, real fast. Akihabara was in an uproar. There were lots of helicopters in the skies that probably belonged to the media. We escaped to the lab, making sure that no one was following us. So what's gonna happen now? It hadn't been that long since we were attacked at the hotel. If the cops found us at the scene of another crime like that, they'd be suspicious for sure. So we ran before the police arrived, naturally. Suzuha wasn't at the lab. Maybe she sensed what was going on outside and gone to check on the time machine. We'd held our breath and waited. It felt like if we let anyone know we were here, more scary people would burst down the door and charge in. See you, Manero. Mao nodded and brought a new towel from the washroom. She handed it to me. Oh, how thoughtful of you, my girl. My neck was wet with blood. Fortunately, it wasn't deep. It wasn't a deep wound, so that it wasn't long before it stopped. After handing me the towel, Maho sat down right on the floor and didn't move. I knew how she felt, especially since there was the second time she'd been attacked. And this time, people had died right in front of her. Daijoubu ka? Hyojo-san. She nodded hesitantly, but her face was deadly pale, of course. And I realized that she'd been, clutching her left hand into the fist the whole time. There was blood coming out of it. Did you get hurt? Show me. Evidently, she hadn't noticed she'd been hurt. She was looking at her confused. My fingers won't move. It's strange. I grabbed her hand and forced open her fingers one by one. Whatever it was, she had been clutching so tight that she'd cut off the blood flow to her hand, to her fingers. They were very cold. Dang, girl. You were clasping onto that thing. When I finally forced her hand open, the thing was holding fell down to the floor. What was it? I picked it up. A fragment of the laptop? Wait, what? She must have grabbed it off the ground when she was running. Something sharp tightly. Of course, she would be bleeding. I returned to Maho's without a word. She took the broken fragment and cradled it in her hand and stared at it with an empty expression. Yes, I can read. I could be reading better if I had my glasses, or probably not. Just don't mind. Suddenly, a single line of tears dripped down her cheek. Oh no, Mao. Don't cry, Mao. You're a girl. You're a pretty girl. After that didn't stop, she continued to sob. So, why is she sorry about the laptop, though? It was as if the tiny fragment was Kurisu herself. She held it to her chest and kept crying. I'm sure Kurisu feels relieved. There's nothing to apologize about. She didn't respond. Instead, a phone started to vibrate. Is it Kurisu? Is it mine? It's mine. Mala took her cell phone and looked at the message she had received. It's from Dr. Laskinen. He says the office and the hotel were ransacked. His and mine. They're a mess, he says. Whether it was the Rounders, the Russians, or whoever first surrounded the cosplay shop, they must have been after Kurisu's laptop and hard drive. There's no backup, right? Okay, good. Yeah, that is for the best. To kill billions of people. For some reason, I am not too sure about this. At the end, I got what I wanted. The data was destroyed before anyone got their hands on it. There was so little left that it was sure they wouldn't to restore it. So I can't use any of this. Alright. Wait, why'd the Russians something or another? Yeah, they did want to get their hands on it, man. Yeah. Oh, the cold way they made their decision made me shiver. They really were professional soldiers. The amateurs couldn't do that. An amateur couldn't do that. We just forget about it, man. I'd rather not say here if I can avoid it. Russians might not know about this place, but Moika does. If the Rounders were on the move, then Tenju downstairs might... Tenju? Tanoji downstairs might be involved too. Move at sunset. Wouldn't be great. It would have been great if Susuha had come back, but I couldn't get in touch with her. Now we're gonna take on Mao's in the shower, in the bath. That's right. Touch it away from her muscles. Her injured hand hurt a little, but it wasn't unbearable. She felt like she'd come back to life or something. The sun set. Maho and Runtaro had gone to Ferris, the cat-eared maid at May Queen's yawn for help. Ferris' home was at the top of the high-rise condo building. On Prime Akihabara real estate, from a secure perspective, it was superior to the future gadget lab in every way imaginable. Ferris welcomed the two of them, offering them food and a place to sleep, and now she'd even offered them a bath. Mao was a little worried about Itaru. He'd instead be staying to wait for his younger sister Suzuha, and remained alone at the future gadget lab. More than an hour had passed since then. Had Rentaro heard anything? And even if they had moved, they didn't mean this place was. It didn't mean this place was safe. The ground from this afternoon could have been attacked, or the group. She couldn't help but to feel nervous, and that made her feel terrible and vulnerable as she sat naked in the bath. I guess there's no sneeze. I feel it. Alright, so I guess it's just not gonna happen. Booty! Then her knees buckled and she fell to the ground. This is extreme muscle relaxation after a period of elevated tension. Whoa, 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 whoa. What's going on with my microphone there? She tried to stay calm by analyzing herself, but then didn't mean she could do anything but lie down. This is bad. Alarm bells were going off in her head. She just... Oh. Okay. Knowing they would pass, at the time, Ferris popped her head in. Naked lying on the floor. She's gonna die, she's gonna die. No, it's fine. Mom's voice was so weak that Ferris didn't even hear. Fugia! Maho hit the back of her head on the floor. Oh, she saw little stars dancing across her face in the field of vision. Sprawled naked on the floor, facing up, Maho tried to force herself to stand, but her arms were too weak. Listen, this will pass soon. But Ferris wasn't listening. For some reason, she decided to reach around Maho from behind and try to drag her up. And then Rentaro must have heard Ferris' screams because there he goes walking in. Oh, not there. What's wrong, Ferris? Oh. Ah. Ah. Oh. Oh. She wanted to scream, but all that came out from the tiny whimper were tiny whimpers. Tiny whimpers. Rentaro carried that naked ass onto the bed.